Wanted to welcome you back today. This is actually a recorded session. I am traveling today, so I didn't want to leave you hanging at 3 o'clock Pacific time. Every Friday, I will be here, recorded or live, mostly live, but occasionally I'm traveling or I have other obligations with the family, and that's what's happening today. But I still want to answer your questions, so go ahead and leave those in the chat. I'm happy to answer, but just know that this is a recorded session, and I'll come back and answer those questions later. Use the hashtag Career Happy Hour. Every Friday, 3 o'clock Pacific time, I will be here, and unless something changes. So I do appreciate you showing up today and being a part of the effort to put this together. Now, I do want to keep you up to date on the podcast. We just released an episode this last Wednesday. It's called How to Know What a Job to Apply For. That's a question we've been getting a lot. Here is, how do I line up my skills with a job title? It's often not clear on how that works. Week before last, we released an episode called The Number One Secret to Job Satisfaction. So both of those episodes are available for you, as well as a whole bunch of others. And so we'd highly recommend you check out jobseekersradio.com and look at those particular episodes that are of interest to you. There is a search feature there, so you can find episodes that work for you. And so we're going to get into the topic today, which is how much am I really worth? And that's a question that a lot of people have. How do I determine my salary? Am I getting paid what market is? And many organizations have, at least the ones of some size, will have some department called compensation. Not uncommon at all for you to reach out to those folks and say, hey, I'm in this particular role. What is the pay band for this role? What is the opportunity if I move to another organization or another part of the organization? Will my compensation change? And that's something that a lot of people have questions about, and that's totally normal. Okay, so this is really the question that came in this week. Hello, I am often still at work when you hold these live FAQ Fridays, these career happy hours, and that's totally normal. That's why they're recorded and put up here on LinkedIn. They're also on YouTube, Periscope, and in my Facebook group. So you can get the video recording at any one of those places, okay? And she said, my question is about salary adjustment, as in if I make my salary match the job responsibilities, and she's not really talking about a raise, when I'm changing career fields. She's an analytical chemist looking to transfer into manufacturing process improvement. These are very common transitions for a lot of people to make. So don't think that that's abnormal. It's actually perfectly normal. And so there's really three things that I would recommend for this person to do. And the first thing is really document your transferable skills and abilities, your strengths, and your highlighted accomplishments, because there's something probably in chemistry that you could translate over to manufacturing process improvement and analytical skill that you have that's perfectly well suited for that role, okay? And so that's the first thing I would suggest. Take an inventory, catalog these different things, and then identify the titles and the pay bands with your HR department, the compensation specialist. That's absolutely where I would go to get this information, okay? And so the place you can find titles and ranges, if you don't know, if you're going outside the organization or you don't feel the organization is paying competitively, then I have a number of resources I'll go over today that I'm going to share with you that are highly valuable, okay? So keep that in mind. I'll be here to answer any questions. Go ahead and leave those in the chat. Use hashtag Career Happy Hour, and I'll answer those questions at some point in the future. Doesn't matter when you're putting that question up there. I'll get an answer over to it, okay? So once you have the titles and the ranges, maybe from your HR folks, there's always a process. HR is a lot about process. So what is the process to transition to a new role? And what is the process to determine whether or not you would have to adjust your salary or not? So understand that process inside the organization, whether you're on the inside or the outside. Get as much information as you can about that. Okay, and then there's internet resources. So I'm going to go over that now, show you some internet resources that I think would be highly valuable for each one of us to consider when we're going through this process. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over here to Annette Online. Okay, Annette Online is a wonderful resource. It's by the Department of Labor. It's updated regularly, and this is where you can go to do searches on job titles. Okay, so in this particular case, we're looking for what was it? Manufacturing. Let's just call it engineer. Manufacturing engineer is probably, yep, manufacturing engineers. And so they have a thing here where you can see there's a manufacturing engineer category. You can see all the tasks, the technology skills, the knowledge, skills, and abilities required for that role, the work activities you'd participate in. It's really a well done website. So I'd highly recommend you take a peek at that. Okay. And then the job zones, etc., the education that most people, because it's through the Department of Labor, they're probably collecting a lot of this information from IRS tax returns and that sort of thing. Okay. Although I don't think they're supposed to have that information, but hey, what do I know? Okay. And then you'll see related occupations, chemical engineer. That's interesting. So manufacturing engineer has something in common with a chemist. So just know that that's a common thing to do. And then down here, more importantly, it'll give you wages and employment trends. And it'll give you a median wage in 2018, including hourly and annual salary. Now, if you want to get your local state information, you can certainly do that here. Okay, and it gives you projected growth and some information about where the economy is going. Okay, so this is a great resource to identify the job titles and just kind of a general median compensation. The next resource I would suggest you take a look at, and I'll put all these in the show notes, is Payscale.com. It's a wonderful resource you can take advantage of. You can plug in your information. You can say, what am I worth? And you walk through their little wizard, enter as much information as you're comfortable with. It'll certainly give you a better idea of the pay band. Okay? So just go ahead and go through their wizard, answer all the questions, and it'll give you a salary range. Okay? Same with salary.com. Okay, so I can go through and I can enter, manufacturing engineer, and I can say Indianapolis. I think it was Indianapolis that this person was in. Indianapolis. Anyway, I'm going to put Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon. There it is. Get my salary estimate. Okay, so now I can go through. There's a series of things that they do there. They give you different levels, different roles, and you can go through and pick the one that you feel best aligns with who you are. Okay? And then certainly Indeed.com has a salary section. Each one of these is a little bit different. So you would just type in, manufacturing engineer and just do your little search here and see what comes up. Okay? It gives you a median salary or average salary and salary distribution, etc. So now we're kind of getting a ballpark. Now you might be a senior or somebody who's a chemist, so you might have additional experiences that other manufacturing engineers don't have. Glassdoor has a similar service. Okay, you just type in manufacturing engineer and then go ahead and click search, and it'll give you the answer. Okay, and then LinkedIn, even though this is a premium service, you can do the same thing on LinkedIn. So each of these is giving you a unique thing that you can rely on and take advantage of, okay? And so just keep that in mind that, once you get to these internet resources, you have a fairly good idea of what the market demand is going to be, okay? And so if you have any questions about that, all the resources are in the show notes, and I'm happy to answer any questions that each one of you has, okay? But just recognize we're here to support your success, whatever that looks like. And I do appreciate you attending today. I'll be back live next week to answer all your questions. I'll be in the chat here later this afternoon, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I hope you have a great weekend, and we wish you all the best on this FAQ Friday, Career Happy Hour. Make it a good one.